Seb Gorka. Seb Gorka, for your viewers who don't know, Dr. Sebastian Gorka is the Deputy National Security Advisor for Counterterrorism. But his father was a Nazi, not a Nazi sympathizer, not a neo-Nazi. He was an actual Nazi from Hungary. And Seb Gorka wears his father's Nazi party lapel pin on his suit. And he says he's not a Nazi, but he does it to honor his father because he loved his father, and that he's very pro-Israel and he's Zionist and all this stuff. Okay, yeah, he's pro-Israel and a Zionist, but it's still a Nazi party lapel pin. So what are you doing? I've written about this a couple of times. Even his signature, he used to sign things with a small letter Z as a middle initial, which is like a neo-Nazi trope that they do to signal to each other. Like he'll sign Sebastian, little Z, Gorka. Not cool.
Yeah, he did I remembered him. If you can put the tweet on the screen. I don't know if you saw this, went viral. So apparently Seb Gorka worked with a company called Vine Fig and Tree. So there's a company called Vine Fig and Tree, VFT, is a pro-Israeli organization with ties to the administration. Earlier this year, if you could zoom in, I don't know if people could read it, could zoom in a bit. Earlier this year, VHT was at the White House meeting with Gorka, Sebastian Gorka. Shortly after that White House meeting, I was contacted through a third party and asked to script write for VHT. The individual who contacted me publicly is very Christian and widely perceived as America First. I have an inkling, I know who it is. I was told the script would be used to create an AI-generated video on behalf of the White House, specifically for NSC and Sebastian Gorka. They told me, quote, "Yeah, we have to do this on behalf of them, the administration, because they don't want it to look like it's actually coming from the White House." You know what I mean? I mean, it worked out for them and Nick Shirley. Don't know what they're referring to, what happened there with them and Nick Shirley. I was then given a Dropbox link containing research and polling data, internal comments, and strategy material compiled by VFT and the third party involved. Inside the Dropbox were 7 folders. Through those documents, I learned more about what this organization actually does. Their reports monitor major conservative and dissident right accounts and frequently frame those accounts as vulnerable to or participating in foreign influence operations. The report includes information regarding Nick Fuentes, Hodge twins, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Jackson Hinkle, Ian Carroll, and Mario Nawfal, just to name a few. They also collected polling and response data surrounding Joe Kent's resignation from the administration. In another report, they argue that distrust surrounding Kirk's assassination was mostly due to Americans falling for Russian, Iranian, Pakistani propaganda. And then they start talking about going after Nick Fuentes, undermining his Christian identity. And they continue talking about how they could, another internal document weighs in on how they will advise politicians based on their data, which also, okay, that's about JD Vance. Okay, the document also discusses burner profiles, burner ad accounts, AI-generated interview-style videos, audience personas, troll content briefs, engagement testing, and ideological audience segmentation. So this is, and there's more in the tweets, a detailed tweet with screenshots and evidence and all that. So it's from what I understood, and people I spoke to on the show kind of going through it, is that this is how the administration, if they want to go after people and bring them down but not have their fingerprints on it, they work with different agencies and groups, and we've seen with all these NGOs as well. We've talked a lot about these NGOs, to just conduct a complete character assassination. Probably not a surprise for you. I'm guessing this is the what is it, Mondus? The way they do things.
Modus operandi.
Modus operandi. This is their modus operandi. But I'd love to get your comments, John. I'm sure you're on that list as well, so you probably should know more about it.
What a shame. I probably am. I'm increasingly described as noted anti-Semite, John Kiriakou.
You got the anti-Semite label.
News to me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I haven't had the privilege yet, but I had it 2 years ago. They took it away. Hopefully I'll get called one again because it's a badge of honor.
And it's worse. They'll dox you and swat you. I haven't been swatted, but I've been doxed. I got 72 phone calls in a 3-hour period from a guy using 7 different Google Voice numbers And he was furious. He would become increasingly irate because I wasn't answering the calls. As a policy, I just don't answer calls that I don't have saved in my phone. I don't know who these people are. And I'm busy like you are. So he left half a dozen voicemails, each one increasingly angry. And finally he said, I can't wait to see your brains laid out on the street in front of, and then he read my home address. And I was like, oh shit, that's not cool. My home address. And then he leaves one and he says, have you talked to, and then he said a name, you know, your son who lives at, and then he read my son's address. So, you know, as a matter of personal conviction, I hate the FBI, but I figured, well, they should be doing what they're paid to do. So I called a guy that I know at the FBI, and it took him about a week to get a subpoena from Google to then get the subscriber data, and he found the guy. And he was an Iranian Jew living in New York City, said he was paid to do it. And then the FBI called me back and said, are you willing to press charges? I said, absolutely. Are you willing to testify? I said, of course I am. And then like 2 months passed. And I called him back and I said, listen, I haven't heard anything from the Justice Department. Nobody's reached out to me, nothing from the FBI. What's going on? And he said, yeah, they decided not to pursue that case. It's like, why? Because it's me or because it's him? Because it was a political decision at some point.
Because someone's behind him.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did you get more information on who?
But I'm an anti. He wouldn't tell me anything else. Then I got a second death threat saying that he hoped to see me in the ovens because now it's our turn, meaning the anti-Semites' turn to be in the ovens. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So this moron put his actual name, email address, and phone number. He's a rabbi who runs an NGO that treats Jewish children with cancer, only Jewish children, nobody else's children, only Jewish children with cancer. And I sent it to the FBI and they said, we know this guy. This requires only a knock on the door and a finger wag. So what I did is I printed his threat in which he cut and pasted a picture of an oven at Dachau, by the way. And I sent it to every member of his board of trustees. And I was like, this is the guy you want running your company? Because I'm going to go everywhere with this.